Flyers need a center. We hear it from John Tortorella. We hear it from Danny Briere. We hear it from every fan. What happens when they get the 1C? What happens to Sean Couturier? What happens to Ryan Poehling? What happens to Morgan Frost? Let's talk about it on the Flyers Hat Trick Mailbag. Hey, everybody. How you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to this PHLY Flyers YouTube exclusive mailbag. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games. This is Kelly Hinkle from Broad Street Hockey, and I want to try something a little new, and it's, just answering 3 mailbag questions, pulling them out. I did a mailbag a few post games ago, and everyone always loves when I just say, hey, everyone on Twitter, you make the content for me. So we're going to finish that up. And honestly, I want to make this a regular thing. I'm looking forward answering more questions, being a little bit more involved. So if you want to be featured in our weekly mailbags exclusively here for the YouTube channel, just leave your questions right here in the comments on this video. I'm going to go through them each week, pull out 3, and we'll go from there and see if we can make this a weekly feature here on the PHLY Flyers YouTube page. Let us now get to the first question of today's hat trick of questions, Hinkle. The first one here from JBPHI on Blue Sky. This is a good one. If the Flyers add an all-star caliber potential 1C next year with Cates at 2C and Luchenko at 3, what happens with Couturier and Poehling? Not hard to see how this center picture goes from barren to crowded in a single move. Could either be a candidate to fill a left wing role.
There's a lot of ifs.
There is. And that's the obvious one. If they acquire a potential 1C this offseason,
that'll be something good.
Very much up in the air. If they do that, honestly, the rest of this, I don't care. They'll figure it out.
That's my thought process.
That's really,
if we go with, if we start with the base level of this question, I don't care what happens after that.
That's their problem.
Left wing, I don't care.
Yeah.
Couturier can play defense. I don't figure it out.
It's what I always did in my NHL franchises. He's my point man.
I like it.
All right, so piece by piece here.
Okay,
if let's say they get the all-star caliber or potential 1C, a guy who's going to play 20 minutes a night with Konechny or Mishkov, whoever, it's the 1C. You slot Cates in at the 2C. All right. He's been really good. He's having a nice game that we're watching right now, at least the start of it. And Luchenko at 3C. That's where we run into my first obstacle here. I'm not positive he's making this team out of camp next year. Now, he very well could. He very well could. He made the team out of camp this year. I think that was more based on having no centers than it was how impressive he actually was. And in this scenario, they will have added a center. So that's one part. And 2, Guelph didn't trade him at the deadline, and they just named him captain.
Yeah.
To me, that's something you do if you think you have a chance of him sticking around for more than just the rest of this season with them out of the playoff picture. Now, as Charlie said the other day, it's Torts. He could just go, I want this guy. He's on the team, and that's that. He's on the team.
Which is what happened this year.
It is what happened this year. It would be like Luchenko having a bigger role because he'll be 19 at World Juniors. Could be just a big year for him developmentally if he doesn't make the NHL. But let's say he does. Let's say Torts goes, or Luchenko takes a bunch of strides, looks awesome. He's a top 9 NHL center. Let's go. The Couturier and Poehling thing.
Yeah.
Now, you could always just trade Poehling.
Yeah.
He's tradable. He's under contract. He's cheap. He's a good player.
Good dude. Do not need him.
You wouldn't want a ton for him.
Yeah.
You'd get something for, but nothing of substance. So that's an easy route. If they want to keep the Poehling, Hathaway, Lawton, or whatever combination they want on the 4th line together, though, I see a situation where you could put Coots with Noah Cates.
So we're going to Drew Coots.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
And I think it's an apt comparison because what did Claude Giroux still do a ton of?
Face-offs.
What is Noah Cates' biggest weakness at center?
Face-offs.
Well, Sean Couturier.
What's Sean Couturier good at?
Sean Couturier is still good in the face-off dot.
He's so good.
I think you could do that, and you'd need, maybe you have Forster back to his natural right side or something like that to continue to provide some offense.
Sure.
I've liked what I've seen out of Coots with this Farabee and Mishkov pairing, so I think that's the possibility there with Couturier.
I feel like So we have this issue this season of having way too many wings and not figuring out where to slot them. I feel like that doesn't translate to the same kind of problem with center, because you can very easily move any center to wing and they'll still be a very effective hockey player. You can't go in the other direction. So if we somehow end up with too many good centers, that's going to be a very fine problem to have, and I'm pretty confident the Flyers can figure it out. That's a good question.
That question. All right, let's hit this next one here from Ben Branscombe. I picked this one out for you, Hanks, because I know you have strong feelings.
It's the easiest question I've ever heard.
If you had the chance, would you swap the current alternate black jerseys for the 2000s black jerseys and make them the alternates?
In a second.
Now, he provided a picture, and when he says 2000s, he means the ones from like 98.
Right, yes.
Not the
best
Richards
black
era
jerseys,
NHL Edge black jerseys,
No, not
which are okay, but
were
nowhere
fine.
close to these.
No.
Yeah, obviously.
This era of jersey, both the white, or all three, the whites, the blacks, and the oranges, are the best jerseys the Flyers have ever had, and they're silly for never going back to them.
Because I knew both of our answers to this question
And
so
Charlie's
easy.
not here to
And
argue with
Charlie's
us.
not here to
Yeah.
argue, so Charlie he doesn't like
them.
black jerseys for the Flyers. And
As a
honestly,
third.
I'm decked out in orange tonight. I do believe that the Flyers' main color should be orange.
Absolutely.
But as an alternate, those
As
are
a third.
badass.
They're
and
the
they always
best.
have been. It was my first. Well, no, I had a 90s era orange blank that I played street hockey in. All of us had orange jerseys. But my first personalized, real stitched jersey was a black Chris Gratton.
I have so many
Number
of them.
55, of course, and he changed his
Naturally.
number the next year. But because I knew our answer to this question, we both love that jersey. What's your ideal jersey trio? Any era, any combo?
Oh, those three.
Those three. So
Those
that
three.
era, 1998, the jersey trio.
I wouldn't change anything, especially because my memory is leaky as hell. But the orange in that era was the correct orange, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes.
The orange that we've gone back to, because we were with the bad orange there for a number of years. But we've gotten back to the correct
I love
orange.
that jersey, though.
Those three jerseys are perfect. Dan Hilferty, my friend, you will sell $10 billion in jerseys if you brought these back. I would buy so many black jerseys with names on them. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I would need another closet.
I think that's the answer, is just that era,
They're
especially
so
for
good.
fans our age.
Yeah.
I want to try to mix and match. So I want to go white, the 2010 Winter Classics in Boston.
Those are good.
Those are great.
Those are good.
Those are so clean.
Yeah.
The orange 2012 Winter Classics, the lace-ups.
The lace up, okay.
And then these blacks.
So those lace ups in the correct orange. Because it's kind of like a weird
It's
pastel-y
like a
kind of orange.
darker, but I just like that it's
It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good jersey.
Like,
I like
I
that
would-
it's fuzzy.
I would go with the 70s orange jerseys,
Those
but
are
I
good.
just personally love the tie-up. I think those
the
are so
laces
cool.
are nice. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. So that's our jersey question.
Great question, Ben.
And let's round it out with that person, Eddie. And this is just funny. It's really, what happens first? The Iser plan comes to fruition, I assume, in Detroit, not like his next destination, or the Buffalo Sabres make the playoffs.
Or the heat death of the universe. Which comes first?
Honestly, see.
What is the Iser
Man,
plan?
that's the,
I don't know what it is.
is the Iser plan them making the playoffs or them winning the cup? If it's all we are now, I have built what I built in Tampa, it's Buffalo making the playoffs, and that's crazy because they're in last place in the Eastern Conference right now.
Sure.
They haven't been to the playoffs since Mike Richards eliminated them in 2011.
But one assumes, let's be super generous and say that the Iser plan does not require them winning a Stanley Cup, but I would imagine that it would at least require them becoming
Contenders,
perennial. This team's making the
3
playoffs.
years in a row.
Maybe they're going to do something. Yeah,
with at least one series win.
Exactly. Are they doing that? I don't even know. I don't.
They're not in the playoffs right now.
I feel like we have been shown whomst was the brains in Tampa Bay because the Iser plan is very mushy. I don't think anyone can fully articulate what it is, including him. And I would be very surprised. Whereas the Sabres are a disaster of an organization, but they always end up with good players that should work. And so maybe eventually they'll just luck into the right combination of good players because they're going to continue to get high picks for the next 150 years.
This is the NHL. Nobody goes 20 years without making the playoffs.
Well,
Half the teams in
I
the
was
league
going to say, they make it real easy.
and they might be expanding the playoffs. It just has to end eventually, but you look at the Atlantic especially, it's like, where's the
tough.
room?
It's
Where's
tough.
the room? And
They
that's
would
been the
have to
biggest
make a lot,
issue.
yeah.
Like those three teams, it's Ottawa, it's Detroit, it's Buffalo. Ottawa looks like the team that's finally making the jump this year. Detroit and Buffalo still stink. Like they're below 500. It's got to be Buffalo making the playoffs. Like if it's Buffalo lucks into the 8th seed, or the Red Wings go to the conference final twice in 4 years, like it has to be Buffalo, right?
I would think so. You mentioned Ottawa. I would really like them to get into the playoffs.
It would be. Listen, I'm not rooting for Giroux because I've cut off that part of my life where I root for former Philadelphia athletes who didn't win here. Who didn't win here,
wasn't his
but I do love the guy. Like I can't say I don't love him. I would be happy for him. All right, that is this week's Hat Trick mailbag. We're going to be back next week, so make sure you leave your questions right here under this video, and we will pick our favorite 3. And as always, you can hit us up anytime at PHLY_Flyers on the old Twitter. I am Bill. That is Kelly. Till next time, go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.